Welcome back to another episode of Keeping It Real with T&L. I'm Coach Ty, and today we are here with a very special guest, Coach Ed. This is the athletic director for Fortified Strength. This is a local weightlifting club who is not just known locally, but also internationally. Coach Lori?
It's pretty amazing. So not only is he an amazing coach, but like one of my favorite people. So I'm like excited right now. Let's talk about this. If you've ever wondered what it takes to make a great athlete, and on top of that, you're making great humans. Like you go beyond just the coaching aspect. And that's what I love about this. We're going to dive into that too.
Absolutely. But really quick, this is just a little play on last week's episode when we were talking about silencing the naysayers. You guys just got to kind of hear Lori and I talk about that, but I just want to kick this off with a quick question to Coach Ed. So Ed, prior to launching Fortified, you've obviously grown this place to become an amazing thing here. Was there any people who were doubting you or any naysayers that, let's say, you had to face to build this amazing empire that you now have?
Yeah, there were some, not a ton, overwhelming support right out the gate, I think was the first thing I would say that I had. But there were some. And, I come from just a kind of a humble background and just let the work show for itself, and I knew it was going to take some time. I knew I was going to make mistakes along the way. So I knew it was going to look perfect. But, I was okay with that process. And our work shows for what we got. And I know if I just stayed true to who I was and what I wanted to do, it would show and that will shine. In our mission.
Love it. Okay, so I'm just going to read off because you've done a lot of amazing things and I don't want to miss any of it. Being in the circus, b-boy dancing, gymnastics, CrossFit coaching, our gym, CrossFit Ceremony included in there, high school wrestling coach, and now you're one of the most respected names in the USAWC.
Yeah.
Right? How did all these different experiences lead you to youth weightlifting?
I often have to answer this question because it seems like a smorgasbord of things that I've done over my years. But every little thing that I've done has taught me one way or shape or form or another to be a leader, to model what I believe is you heard the quote before, the change you want to see in the world. So, going back to just my dancing days, that's, my creativity. And that shines quite a bit when if I'm programming a workout or some new exercises that I think will be cool, will be fun. So there's my creativity side. My competitiveness came from, coaching wrestling and participating in wrestling. And then, the slew of coaching knowledge, right, from you guys, from, Kelly, from just in general across the board, that really helped me set me up for success going into the future. But as far as the circus goes, I think it's just a sprinkle of entertainment and mystery, I think, which is helpful when you're working with kids.
Yeah, it's fun to see. I love that.
Very, very cool. So this was kind of personal. Me and you had talked earlier on Monday about a speech of the 80-20 rule as it applies to effort.
Yeah.
You had laid it out to me that basically you just showing up here, let's say it's your first day, just by showing up consistently, you'll elevate yourself to 80% higher than probably where you were. But to reach that level of greatness that people are seeking, that championship level, that Fronings type level for anyone who does CrossFit, that Michael Jordan in the basketball, that to cross from that 80 to get to the 100, that 20% usually you said takes 80% effort
or more.
Now, I remember you were saying you were going to have this talk with the kids, and I was like, that's going to be some true wisdom. And I was curious how that conversation went and kind of your mindset towards this.
It's a principle that's been around for a long time, and it's that there you can fudge the numbers. Even the numbers don't even have to equal 100%, right? Like it could be 90-20, right? So. And this, so you guys work with clients, they have to make one change in their life and they'll see great, results, right? You know what I mean? Just watching what they eat, right? You'll see them lose, tons of weight, like, and you see this massive change. And then it starts slowing down and starts tapering off. And I was trying to present that in a way for our youth to understand that, hey, you guys showing up here is just the start of your guys' journey, right? If you ever have any aspirations to be amazing at what you do, you're going to have to yield a lot more effort. Just like what you guys are doing with your podcast, right? Like, this is a lot of effort to do that, right? You could just be doing the things you normally do to come in and continue to educate people and coach people, but to go that extra mile to reach enough people and everybody, you have to yield way more effort. Um, you know, as far as how they interpret it, we'll see. It was only a few days ago. They're still young, right? They're still kids and still youth, so they still have a lot to grow. And some will catch on. Some will catch on right away and understand what they're saying, and some might take some time to do it. But just to start the process of thinking that, oh, okay, I feel like I'm doing a lot of work and I'm doing enough, but there's more to it, right? There's a lot more that I could be doing that will help me for whatever goals that I want. And this is kind of what you were talking about, Lori, is that I'm trying to set them up for success, not just in weightlifting, but in life, right? Like, so that you can apply that 80-20 principle to your work life. You go in, if you're working in an office job, you could show up and do the thing every day, clock in at 8, clock out at 5, and go home and do your thing, right? Or you can go the extra mile and then try to get better at whatever it is you're doing. So, but like I said, it's going to be a process for them to understand what that actually means and what effort is.
Absolutely. But it's still, like I said, I just love that because you're passing on wisdom and you're planting seeds that obviously I know that when we had this conversation, nobody had ever mentioned that stuff to me. Like, these are things that I'm learning now in life, like as I've been through it. And if I would have got that told to me at 8 or 9, or even if it was just planted there, just the concept, how even you had the graph of it and kind of just showed it, like that would have been something that would have landed deeply with me. And so I just want to obviously commend you for taking time to pass that on to them, because that's a big deal.
It goes the same for me. Like, 20%, like I could come in, write a program up. All right, everybody do it, right? And I could do that, right? That would be my 20%, and that'll get 80% of efforts. Maybe 80% is just what we have done. I don't know. I don't actually know what the 100% looks like, but I know if I give a little bit more effort, I can probably yield some better results. And that's kind of like the same principle. I want to apply it to myself too.
Absolutely.
I love that. I can say, like, you're another shining example of when people are living out their passion, right? You're doing what you're meant to do. Like, you're destined for greatness. You've done so many great things. And now we're at this pinnacle of just like, how many lives will you touch and change going forward? It's infinite, really.
Yeah.
And it's not just within these walls too. And that's super amazing. So I've witnessed this, your incredible relationship with your athletes. And my daughter's one of them. Anytime something great happens, she texts you or tells you.
I love it.
Lifted since,
I love
right? But
I love it.
you're just like, you're that person that will always be in their hearts. And I see this because some of your coaches, like Garrett goes away to college, people move away, they come back, they're adults now, they always come back to see you. And I absolutely love that. So the question from all of this is, how do you manage being a coach, a mentor, and a friend, still keeping the boundaries to push them to be their best, right?
Yeah. And like we talked about a little bit of the journey, you're going to have some hiccups on the way. So it was a little bit of a learning process to what that means, what those boundaries are too, just for myself as well too, and boundaries for myself. So I don't put myself in a situation where I cause even myself harm, because we work with these kids, and I can get emotional about it too. So there's it took a lot of learning, but with that, growing with them and understanding it and just being open about what the boundaries are, right? Where I said, 8 o'clock, guys, you don't call me at 8 o'clock, right? So that's all. But just little things like that, like yield to that. And one of the boundaries, which I find actually really funny to me, that like they've created for themselves, because I told them after they graduated, I was like, I'm really not longer your coach. You can call me just Ed. And they said, no, that sounds weird. Right. like I have these adults now, they're like young adults that are like still calling me Coach Ed, and they've created that own boundary. So it's kind of like, this homage that they continue to pay to me, even afterwards. And I don't, I don't mind either way. I always tell them, I said, hey guys, if you guys are just thinking about me every now and then want to drop in, I'm flabbergasted, right? So I don't expect anything, because everybody's got to go on and move their own life. But yeah, it was definitely a learning process. And and one of the things, even like with your daughter, growing up with her, I kind of grew into this coaching role with her, right? So learning how to grow with them has made me a better coach for the ones that they're coming out, which is why they're my 3 stars and the logo of Fortified. They kind of, I grew with them. So that was one of probably the key factors of being there from the beginning when they were young, and kind of working through them through this transition to young adulthood. And it's really helped me understand what it means to be a coach and mentor. Like, what boundaries should I be setting with them? What things should I be talking about them? And when should we be talking and having these conversations, which is also important. Timing is very important. So, just being open minded to, whatever they're going through and their feelings and the change that they're going through, and being flexible. They can adjust on the fly.
Yeah.
So,
It's incredible.
That's amazing. We're gonna see. There's so much that script. I almost want to toss the script because there's so much that I want to touch on. But I will stick to the script. I've got some bonus questions though.
yeah.
Towards the end.
Yeah, sure.
So I remember one of your coaching. One of the things that you had told me about. You had started out at CrossFit San Francisco.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
during that time, you were
Yeah.
working with the legend himself, Kelly Starrett.
Yeah.
So many people know this guy. He's a big pioneer in movement and
Absolutely.
mobility. He's written multiple books now.
Yeah.
He also met the president. Was that last year?
Yes, he did actually. Yeah.
He's been doing some
he's out there.
huge things. And this was someone who you were kind of under his wing.
Mm-hmm.
And you were also with some other legends like Carl Paoli.
Mm-hmm.
And who's the female one who you're
Diane Foon.
Yes.
Yeah,
So you were with this crew of just people. What was it like working directly with him and just being in that environment?
That actually was funny, because that was a fluke, right? Like, I just ran into Carl working teaching gymnastics, and he introduced me to everybody from there. And what was cool about that was that was kind of like maybe the first inkling that I found out that, like, pick something that you want to do, pick something you're passionate about, and go for it, right? Because you had all these people in there, like Diane Fu, like, she had really not a lot of extensive background in Olympic weightlifting, but she created this platform to do that, right? And then went on and had a great rich history from that. We had many people who Nate Homling, as he coached biathlon training, so he's a runner and like high endurance stuff, and he created this whole brand and platform, and just took it and run. I had John Leo Post. He was we call him the Gypsies, but he did a lot of free running and mountain climbing and things like that. And he ended up creating this entire brand that helped people learn to move for labor workers. And like San Jose has a whole company that it's called Workly, and he just teaches people how to move so they hurt their backs. Like, it's just like, you just go around these people who have these amazing things that, like, they were doing these things, and they were just like, Kelly was like, hey, if you want to do it, let's do it. I'll support you. Right. Like, and it was that first inkling that was like, oh, okay, I want to do something. I'll just start. Right. Like, I'll just start and go from there. Right. So that was probably one of the big takeaways from there. Of course, I learned a lot of things and took away from everybody there. And that was just an experience and kind of like a real cool thing to be a part of the culture of CrossFit at the time, with them in that journey. But that was the biggest one. There were so many amazing people that came out of there and went on and did amazing things, and still are. We're still communicating now and then. So that was cool.
What was it like? So obviously this man has written books on movement. Did it get kind of weird? Like, with it catch you like hunching or leaning on something?
There's actually like an old Reebok commercial, and Kelly is walking by, and as he's walking by, people see him in the peripheral, and everybody sits up straight, and then they uncross their legs, and like they'll probably see this, like everybody sits up straight, and he's looking around, and he's like telling people to sit their feet straight. Yeah, it was literally like that. Like he was very a stickler about movement. And if I pick up my coffee cup around the wrong way on the other side of the gym, I hear him, "Hey, make a better decision," right? Yeah, literally, that man definitely lived that legend.
I love
It
that.
be supple leopard.
Yeah. He was in it. Yeah, so it was really cool being around there. And Kelly's such a good dude, man. And he's grown so much now too, which is amazing.
Yeah, it is crazy how all you guys like you could peel back every single one of you guys, and from that point see everybody has a program, everybody has a brand.
Yeah. I didn't think it was going to happen that way. I'll be honest with you. I didn't think I was going to be one of them, but I ended up running into Carl, and he said the same thing. He goes, "Man, this is crazy that we're here, and now you're doing this thing that." Yeah, I was like, "Me too." I was like, "I'm surprised too, man." So it was really cool, man. So, yeah,
Awesome.
right.
I love it. Okay. So in a perfect world, 5 years from now, like, where do you see yourself going to be competing again? Because we have not even touched on what a phenomenal athlete you are. We've left out the whole athlete aspect. Can I just really quickly, there's a video somewhere on the website or one of our old reels, like he's got one finger on each hand doing pull-ups. And then remember you do stuff on top of the kettlebell.
I do.
And you're like and just a hell of a CrossFit athlete. You and Chris Cade and who's the other young
Souza, Joseph, Joe.
These kids are like 20 years younger than me, 10 years younger than you.
Yes.
You're just like going for it in the workout. It was like something to watch. But like, where are you going to be like personally in 5 years? And what about for Fortified? Like, are there any other big things coming with that? Like, let's talk about dreams. What happened?
I mean, I'd be content just by doing this for the next 15 years, and I'd be totally fine with it being just like this in our little cul-de-sac, and I'd be totally fine. But like, if I was gonna be a big dreamer, I'd love to see me being able to provide more coaching opportunities for people, so other people who might have dreams to be able to provide something for them to aspire to. That would be really cool. And to have just the vision that I set out for Fortified, and along with a lot of key members like Jim Lisi, Kelly Lisi, everybody else, to see if it can touch other people across the world and nation, like just and be able to help people in ways that I never thought I would imagine I would be able to. So, I mean, in the interim right now, we have the scholarship program going out. So we pay for about 70 youth athletes to pay their entryway to go to youth nationals. We just sent out codes, and they just signed up. We're able to pay for that. We're working on another, like a merit-based one for folks who compete a lot and travel a lot to help to support them in ways financially, so they can continue to go to these meets, help grow the sport. And working with other clubs to try to get more youth into it, trying to create a youth state championship. Like when I was growing up, for me, states was the biggest thing for me, so I want to provide the same thing for them. So those are the kind of things that I'm looking at doing. Fortified grows with it. We have more locations, more coaches. That's great too.
Yeah.
But more when I look at as far as the growth of what we do is like, what can we do to provide as a service? Like, how much more can I serve? Right? Not really necessarily how many, but how well.
And that's huge because it's not for people that don't have kids in sports or a sport like USAW weightlifting and like youth weightlifting. It's expensive. Like nationals, that 1 year, the first was it 2021? We bought the Bronco and drove to Detroit with COVID stuff, and that was Ashley's last nationals. Right? We drove across country and back, hotel, like all the things, and then their shoes are $200, and we did this thing like collecting lifting shoes and having lifters for kids and passing down singlets. Like even just within these walls, the things that you do are so helpful because I mean, not everybody has the means to do that. I feel like we forget that. This is a well-to-do area, but there are people that need assistance for food and different things. So you work with tuition, you work with all those things. And I love that you're always thinking about how can we serve? Because there's nothing, in my opinion, not being able to have any sort of youth sport or anything growing up, but this is like the most important thing. You teach them like confidence, teamwork, even though it's an individual sport, you're alone on the platform, you're part of the Fortified team. Like you've got that camaraderie and things that they might not even get at school because school programs are always getting paid. So
yeah. I worked in the district for many years, and I know what's happening there. So I'm trying to combat that.
Yeah.
So obviously, I don't know what that all that stuff is gold. So I'm gonna throw one curveball. I'm supposed to ask you this question, or I'm gonna hold off just because you mentioned the whole entire district, and I know that this is something that means something to us. And I want you to speak about it.
Sure.
What was it like going to Foothill and turn around that wrestling program and everything that you did with that and your passion towards wrestling? Because I feel like a lot of people don't know how passionate you are about wrestling and what you managed to do and create. So I want to give you a time to talk about the Foothill experience.
Sure. The Foothill experience, they were already prior to that, maybe 5 years before I got there. They were really good. And they fallen off quite a bit. And that's every high school sport to have ebbs and flows. But I had to come in with really no large pedigree in wrestling, at least in the area to them. I wrestled in high school and a little bit of college, and that was it. But really no large pedigree. So getting their trust, right, was a huge thing. Not just the trust of the kids, but the administration when they see me around. So it was a lot of like on boots on the ground work. I would go to the school, talk to the teachers, and talk to them a lot. Try to get to find ways to be on campus during the lunch period, just so I could be around and have them talk to me and things like that. Make sure I knew who the janitor was, what his name was, and make sure they once we got gear, I started handing out T-shirts to teachers that were like, I was like, oh yeah, thank you for supporting the wrestling program. And I just started handing gear out to the principals. So it was a lot of that. So I had to do a lot of almost campaigning almost, right? You know what I mean? Like I'm a politician or something. So I did do a lot of that. And then I had to work my way through the wrestling community, talk to the coaches, show them that I'm there, do middle school wrestling with Thomas Park Middle School, which was down the street. So I had to let them use my room, go to the meetings, help them with their program because they had a head coach there. So I said, okay, cool, I'm going to help them. So now you know that I'm here. And if your kids are coming to my school, you know that you got a handoff, right?
So you were already building.
So building that. And then, within there, with the, coaches who were very serious about it, start doing off-season wrestling, show up to the tournaments, bring kids to theirs at those tournaments and have them show up to the state off-season wrestling and stuff and be involved in there. And hey, we have a wrestler, one of my old wrestlers from a club who are coming in. Can you host their like a seminar or something like that? Like, yeah, we'll do it for Foothill. So it was a lot of those things and putting yourself into that environment. It's the same with weightlifting and CrossFit to some degree, where you have to make sure that there's a trust factor that people know that they can come to you for whatever it is that you do, and you have a level of respect, even though if you're not at the level of some of the other programs where they knew that I was serious about it. And that aspect really resonated with the youth that were on there. They could see how dedicated it was, how, being consistent, being there all the time and took no days off. I was every practice, every meet, everything, every meeting. That resonated and it just trickled down effect, right? I have one or two athletes that buy in. I get them. I said, okay, one of the kind of controversial things, I made a sophomore the team captain. That was very controversial, but I knew he was going to be the guy. And like you guys hear me talk about sometimes, Sam he was the guy. I made him the captain and he just systematically stripped it down. And by the time he was a junior there, he had already had the respect of the room. Freshmen come in, they knew him because he helped out a little bit of the middle school program, and that just grew from there. So if Sam said it, then that meant I said it, and then it was just that was it, right? So, but it took a lot, right? And it takes some of those things that I learned there and tried to apply it here too as well. And it's definitely helped me for sure. But yeah, it was a big part of being able to do what I do now.
Well, what was the pinnacle of that? Isn't something?
I mean, yeah, for me, the pinnacle. I mean, it seems like so small then, but that team hadn't won a dual meet in years, right? And we beat our rivals, Amador Valley, the last dual meet for our senior night. One of my seniors pinned the guy and like took it over. Nuts. The crowd was crazy. It was amazing. So that was the pinnacle for me, was just winning that dual meet, right? Yeah. It was a one dual meet, man. They were singing at the end of it, at the end of the dual meet, and they were like, it was crazy. Like, so that was definitely the pinnacle for sure.
I love that. I love it. As a former wrestler, obviously, trading these stories with you, and obviously, just our passing by, there wasn't no way that I could.
I couldn't have that.
Something with some wrestling.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're back to the script. This is the last question, and we're going to get into the rapid fire. Unless, Laura, do you have anything you
No.
want to ask about the rest?
This has been so great. I just want to keep talking all night. It's like everybody's hungry, stomachs are rumbling.
Yeah.
But no, this last question is great too. So let's do that.
All right. So now this one obviously hits a little bit close to home. You have your own daughter in the program.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Mhm.
But I know that coaching your own kid can be tricky.
Yeah.
So how do you manage that dynamic, and has it changed the way that you coach or lead or anything of that nature?
It definitely is. I'm conscious of it, right? I'm conscious of it because I've been on those teams like, coach's kid, right? That's a coach's kid, right? And so, it was helpful that I had my oldest go through the program, and he had his own struggles going through the program and everything else like that. So that definitely helped when I started bringing my other ones in. And one thing is it's great that like I'm able to hand her off to like someone who really cares about her and really cares about her development, which is like super great. That makes it easy on my part. But every now and then I do have to coach her, and there I try not to bridge the gap too much for her own coach and athlete relationship with her coach. But at the same rate, we do get a chance to have like really deep conversations about what it means to be an athlete, like what you have to consider, right? And I have to put in terms of her as an athlete sometimes at home. And it's like, hey, you have a meet tomorrow morning very early. I know the boys are still up. You got to go to bed because you got to get going, right? And but at the same time, she like I want her to treat it like not a like it's like a her, like she deserved it, like that's what she's supposed to get, but more if it's like you're blessed to be able to do this, like you get an opportunity to do this, right? And you should treat it that way, right? And you're lucky enough to have a facility here that you can go to, that I can drive you to every day to go do something that you actually enjoy doing, right? So you should be grateful for the opportunity, act like you're grateful for the opportunity, and treat it that way. I think I would do it even if she wasn't in the same program as sports field, like I do my son. He does golf, but I'm there with her all the time so I can see it, right? So, I respect her space, and like and sometimes I'll just ask questions, even though I might know the answers, or I think I know the answers for now. I just ask questions about how she feels. But it is a little tricky navigating it too, because at the same point I am her dad, and I want what's best for her. Sometimes what's best for her is me actually taking a step away and not saying stuff, and this, right? And sometimes we'll by proxy I'll talk to her coach about certain things, and like, yeah, well, it was up late last night, so she doesn't so she definitely doesn't give me handouts, and it is harder for her at times, but I am conscious of it. Like, I don't want it to be that she's successful because of her work ethic that she's doing it, not because she's my daughter.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I want that to be apparent, and so I tell her that you got to work. You got to work every day, no matter what.
Well, thank
She's
you.
an amazing athlete.
Yeah, she did. She
We
did
got
great.
compassion and
Yeah,
watching
she's doing great.
the live stream. All right, so you made it through the questions. Now it's the hot seat.
I'd say.
Rapid fire.
All right.
This one's good. This one's for Jennifer. If on vacation for a week, where would you take her?
Oh, well, that's easy. That's Hawaii, because I don't.
Watching right now.
Yeah, I know, right? Hawaii, 100%. I definitely haven't gone, and I don't think she's ever been either. And like, funny enough, like, I was traveling. I think I was traveling. I went to Zanzibar for something, and I was like teaching in Zanzibar. I was teaching, I think, breakdancing in Zanzibar. And that was like right after we got married. So we actually never had an official honeymoon yet. So this is kind of like,
Oh,
you know,
oh no.
so this is me like reminding myself that I have to make this happen, but Hawaii.
Okay. Hawaii is beautiful. If you want more relax,
Yeah.
if you want party, just go to Oahu. Depends on what you're looking for.
I don't know. Relaxation sounds great.
Okay, awesome. I love it.
All right, all right. You've been traveling all over the world. As we know, you weightlifting is very big in other countries, not as much here all the time. You've been in multiple different countries. What is your least favorite place you've ever had to travel to for an event? And it doesn't have to be with weightlifting.
There's two that come two that come to mind. It's and I don't know if that had to do with the situation at the time. It was 2021, went to Detroit. That was like, oh my gosh, that was rough, man. Detroit was pretty rough. But everything was shut down. That was kind of like, this was like a ghost town there. And this was, you know, right after post-COVID and things like that. So that was pretty rough. I'll be honest with you. I know they do the state championships every year for wrestling, for folk style, freestyle, Greco. But Fresno, man, Fresno.
Sorry, Fresno.
That DoubleTree in that area. That, oh my gosh, right? I love going to that event. I love going to the event. I get so excited to do it. I'm not excited about traveling to Fresno.
This almost makes me laugh because I know for a fact you've been to quote unquote third world countries.
Fresno, California.
I thought about it. There's some third world countries, but I'm like,
Fresno.
Double Fresno takes the cake.
Hotels.com.
Yeah, man, that is, yeah, 100%, man.
I've been there once. I don't want to go back either.
Man,
Fresno.
zoo there too. It is not impressive. It's not impressive.
Oh my god.
Sorry. Oh.
That's Fresno. I'll let you get on it, Lord.
Oh my god, that was great. Okay, if you could go back and talk to your teenage self, what would you say to him?
Oh my gosh, what wouldn't I say to that guy, man? Oh my gosh. I mean, you know what? You know what's funny? I circle back to the 80-20 principle. I literally would sit down and have that same conversation I just had with them on Monday about the 80-20 principle. I mean, that's hindsight. It's like right now, it's fresh on my mind. But I think if I knew that, I would have definitely given more than 20% when I was growing up in high school, man. Like I definitely like relied on my natural ability. For sure.
That's serious. All right. This one's been asked by almost everyone on the show.
Yeah.
And I almost think that I had asked you this. You were the first person who I want to say that I ever did ask this on our first episode.
Okay.
I might drop a link for that one. Yeah. But so dead or alive, any person who you could sit and have dinner with, ask any questions you want. It could be someone who's here right now. It could be Jay-Z to Jesus.
Things have never
It's funny. I remember you asking me this, and it's actually changed a while, right? And actually now it would be my grandfather, actually, right? Like, and it's changed, and that's because life has changed, and I'm a father of some of my kids, and I've been almost like a father figure for a lot of other kids now, and he managed kids. 9 kids in a house, right? So like I wonder how that was coming back from who's in the war too, war. And so it's just how did that managing that? Like, it's my grandfather would actually be somebody I actually would love to just sit down and talk to him and pick his brain. Probably wouldn't get the answers that I wanted to because of, stories about who he was. But if I had an opportunity to do it and he was willing, I'd do it. I'd do that with my grandfather. The other person would be Dave Chappelle, man.
Dave
Chappelle. I just, man, what was on your mind when you turned down that much money to redo the show, and why? And because now he's like considered like a comedy legend. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I just curious of like what were you so passionate about your craft that you were like, $5 million? Nah, I'm good. Right? Like.
Solid question.
Yeah.
Sorry, find it out now.
Absolutely. I want to know that too.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. All right, so and it doesn't have to be anything. What is your favorite lift?
I like the snatch. I do love the snatch. 100-kilo snatch. I've done it. Okay.
Just gotta put that out there.
But honestly, I don't train it that much. But the deadlift actually is actually my favorite lift. Like really, I could deadlift like in my heart I could deadlift all day. I don't know if I can fit. Deadlift's definitely one of my favorite lifts.
All right, last one. What is one thing that you thought would happen in life that never did?
Oh man, that's actually a tough question, man. Like one thing that I'd never thought would happen that did. Ah, I mean, like the obvious one is like having 3 kids and families like that I was like because I was not a kid person growing up. I was like I'm never having kids, man. I'm just not that guy. I think that was like one of the biggest ones, but you find someone that changes your mind, and that like that's all you. And I was like I couldn't imagine my life without them. That was definitely on top of the list. Ah, I think one actually. It's actually a funny one too, and and I thought for sure there's this move in breakdancing that everybody is like the most coveted move. It's like the ring muscle up in CrossFit, right? Like it's like that, like right. And there was this move that I was like, I'm gonna get this move. I'm gonna have it. I'm gonna be able to do it, and then I'm gonna fly, right? Because it's almost like a fly. It's called an air flare. Man, I never done it. I actually and like I to this day, like I'm like I think I can still do it, right? Like uh, so that is probably one thing that I thought would have happened in my life as an athlete, that never took off. Everything else I like, I manifested, man. Like I don't know.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Still, that's
So-
so cool. Even is there a possibility? Yeah, is there a
No,
chance
you-
that
because we talk, it gets
think
better
so.
with age.
I think so. That's what I think.
Let's
So. I
go.
think I still could do it, right? Like, they knocked that off the list, man. But
Let's do it. Let's throw it on the wall.
yeah, let's put it on the wall. Slap on the board.
I saw you guys move first before you guys say this. So this move is
You got that. I don't even need to know. Once you do it, I'll know that's it. I'll be like, I told you so. It's like, end the story. Check.
I
man.
loved it.
That'd be incredible. Okay, so Ed, thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're like
Yeah.
one of the busiest people.
This has been a long time coming, so I'm happy to be able to make it happen.
Yeah, your heart is just unmatched, and your passion for what you do it's an absolute inspiration. And on times when I burn out, I think of you and I'm like, Ed, I don't think Ed gets a vacation unless you count when he goes to Fresno, third world country.
Oh my gosh.
Your time out of the building. I was like, Lord, what are you complaining about? You made the house for one. So I am so grateful
I
for
appreciate
everything that you do for the whole community. I mean, and you went to high school, you graduated California, and you're in the community, and I love that you give back. And on behalf of everybody, I'm going to say a huge thank you because you're one of those people that we can't thank enough.
Thank you guys. Well, I mean, like none of this would have happened, of course, without you and Tim. It's just that I can't. I'm internally grateful. You guys know you're family to me, and
Definitely family. Thank you.
it's been so awesome to be able to have a shared space with you guys. So.
Oh, yeah.
Love that. So really quick, if I'm a parent and I want to get my kid into fortified weightlifting, where do I go? What do I do? How do I do it?
Easy. Just go to fortifiedstrength.org, right? We offer tuition assistance for anybody that needs it. You just sign up and show up. We try to keep the barrier of entry very low and make it easy for people to come in and try it out for the first time. Right?
Excellent. I love that.
Perfect.
So, guys,
Go ahead.
I apologize. So no, so I was gonna say, and do you want him to follow you on Instagram, or are you still keeping that low key?
Oh, well, yeah. You could follow me on Instagram. I have. There's an athlete one out there. I'll let you guys find it. If you can find it, you can follow. I'll take it. Right. So,
If you get
there's an athlete one out there. But it's Coach Ed J. It's on Instagram. Fortified.strength is for Fortified, and yeah, you can go there. There's donate links. Get better if you guys want to donate and help out the cost for these scholarships that we're trying to get up here pretty soon. So
it's so cool. Yeah, we'll have to do another lift off for you guys, and
absolutely,
that's fun.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Great.
For all the new kids that'll be coming into the program, they can see what it's like to get on the platform and lift.
That's what I do. That's what I use it for. 100%.
Yeah, I love that. All right, guys. So everybody's watching this now. You have to like and share because this is amazing. Like my heart is full. if my bucket's full, back to that kindergarten book that we always bring up. How to fill someone's bucket instead of kicking and emptying it, right? We filled it today. Leave a comment too. You got questions for Ed? You want to see more Ed? Let us know.
Sure.
Always let us know what we can do on this podcast. I mean, this is week 16. We have 3 more weeks laid out. I mean, we love this. This is the good thing. We like keeping it real with you guys.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys
It's been
keep
a
it real.
lot to honestly have you on here with us.
It means a lot to me. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, San Ramon, that's all we got. Keep it real, keep it classy. Until next time, we'll see you guys.